There's a moment every driver remembers. You press the accelerator, expecting that familiar surge forward, and instead, the car hesitates. The response feels weak, delayed, almost as if something is holding it back. It's subtle at first. Maybe you ignore it. Maybe you tell yourself it's just a rough patch, bad fuel, or a passing issue. But then it happens again, and again. Suddenly, that small hesitation turns into a worrying pattern. A car losing power isn't just frustrating. It can feel unpredictable, even unsettling, especially when you rely on your vehicle every day. The good news is that behind every symptom, there's usually a clear cause. And once you understand what might be happening under the hood, the situation becomes far less mysterious. Let's walk through the most common reasons why a car starts losing power, not as a checklist, but as a story of how machines breathe, think, and move. Because once you see how everything connects, you'll never look at your car the same way again. Imagine your car as a living system. It needs air, fuel, and precise timing to perform at its best. When even one of these elements is disrupted, the entire experience changes. One of the most common culprits behind power loss starts with something incredibly simple, yet often overlooked. Air. Your engine depends on a steady flow of clean air to function properly. Think of it like breathing. If the airflow is restricted, the engine struggles to generate the energy it needs. Over time, the air filter, which protects the engine from dust and debris, can become clogged. It doesn't happen overnight. It builds slowly, almost silently. And by the time you feel the difference, the engine has already been working harder than it should. When airflow is limited, combustion becomes inefficient. The engine compensates, but only to a point. You might notice sluggish acceleration, reduced responsiveness, or even a slight drop in fuel efficiency. It's one of those issues that feels bigger than it is, yet the fix is often surprisingly simple. But air alone isn't enough. Fuel is the next piece of the puzzle, and this is where things can get a bit more complex. Your car relies on a precise mixture of fuel and air to create power. If that balance is off, performance suffers. A common reason for this imbalance is a problem within the fuel system itself. Fuel injectors, for example, are responsible for delivering the right amount of fuel into the engine at exactly the right time. Over time, they can become dirty or partially blocked. This doesn't stop the car completely, but it disrupts the flow. The engine may receive less fuel than it needs, or the fuel may not be properly atomized. The result is a noticeable drop in power, especially when accelerating or climbing uphill. In some cases, the fuel pump may also play a role. If it isn't delivering fuel at the correct pressure, the engine simply can't perform at full capacity. These issues often develop gradually, making them harder to detect early on. But once they reach a certain point, the symptoms become impossible to ignore. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Modern cars are not just mechanical systems. They are intelligent. They rely on sensors and computers to make real-time decisions. This is where another major cause of power loss comes into play. Sensors. Your car uses a network of sensors to monitor everything from airflow to oxygen levels in the exhaust. These sensors feed data to the engine control unit, which then adjusts performance accordingly. If one of these sensors starts sending incorrect information, the system reacts based on faulty data. Imagine trying to run a marathon while receiving inaccurate instructions about your pace. You might slow down when you shouldn't, or push too hard at the wrong time. That's essentially what happens when a sensor malfunctions. The engine may reduce power as a precaution, even if everything else is functioning normally. One sensor that often comes into focus is the mass airflow sensor. It measures the amount of air entering the engine and helps determine how much fuel should be added. If it becomes dirty or fails, the entire balance is thrown off. The car may feel hesitant, unresponsive, or uneven in its performance. And then there's the oxygen sensor, which monitors the exhaust to ensure efficient combustion. If it provides inaccurate readings, the engine may adjust fuel delivery incorrectly, leading to reduced power and increased emissions. At this point, you might be thinking, this all sounds complicated. And in some ways, it is. But there's another layer to this story that brings everything together. Ignition. This is where the magic happens. The spark plugs ignite the air-fuel mixture inside the engine, creating the controlled explosions that power your car. If the spark is weak or inconsistent, the entire process is disrupted. Worn or faulty spark plugs are a common cause of power loss. They don't fail all at once. Instead, their performance gradually declines. You might notice rough idling, difficulty accelerating, or even occasional misfires. It's like trying to light a fire with damp matches. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's never reliable. Ignition coils, which supply power to the spark plugs, can also contribute to the problem. If they begin to fail, the spark becomes inconsistent and the engine struggles to maintain smooth performance. Now, let's pause for a moment, because here's something many drivers don't realize. Power loss isn't always about what's happening inside the engine. Sometimes, the issue lies in how that power is transferred to the wheels. This brings us to the transmission. The transmission is responsible for converting engine power into motion. If there's a problem here, the engine may be working perfectly, but the car still feels sluggish. You might notice delayed acceleration, difficulty shifting gears, or a general lack of responsiveness. Transmission issues can vary widely in severity. In some cases, it may be something as simple as low or degraded transmission fluid. In others, it could involve internal wear or electronic control problems. Either way, the effect is the same. The connection between engine and wheels becomes less efficient, and power is lost along the way. And just when you think you've identified all the possible causes, there's one more factor that often goes unnoticed: the exhaust system. After combustion, gases need to exit the engine smoothly. If there's a blockage in the exhaust system, such as a clogged catalytic converter, it creates back pressure. This restricts the engine's ability to breathe out, which in turn affects its ability to take in fresh air. The result is a noticeable drop in performance. The engine feels strained, especially at higher speeds or under load. It's a reminder that every part of the system plays a role, even those we rarely think about. Now, here's the turning point. You've seen how these issues develop. You've felt how they affect performance. But what can you actually do about it? The answer starts with awareness. Pay attention to the early signs. Subtle changes in acceleration, unusual sounds, or warning lights on the dashboard are all clues. They're your car's way of communicating with you. Ignoring them may seem convenient in the moment, but it often leads to bigger problems down the road. Regular maintenance plays a crucial role here. Replacing air filters, using quality fuel, and keeping up with service intervals can prevent many of these issues before they begin. It's not just about fixing problems. It's about creating conditions where problems are less likely to occur. And when something doesn't feel right, trust that instinct. And before we wrap up, let's come back to that moment we started with. You press the accelerator. This time, the response is smooth. The car moves forward effortlessly, just as it should. There's a sense of ease, a quiet reassurance that everything is working in harmony. That's the experience every driver deserves. If you found this helpful or learned something new, take a moment to show your support. Like the video, subscribe to the channel for more insights like this, and share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. Your story might help someone else understand theirs.